Hi, this is Olga Bashkatova with Next Stage Advisory, providing accounting and advisory services to startups. I wanted to speak to you today about hiring and how do you hire that right accountant, that first accountant for their job. Most of you start out by outsourcing accounting, and that's totally fine, and that's very cost effective. However, as you start to scale, you most likely will find a need, because you're big enough, to hire your first in-house accountant. And most of you start with somebody more junior, somebody under 80, 90,000, maybe around even 50, 60K range. And for hires like this, you might not want to use a recruiter, or you might not have enough cash to use a recruiter and pay 20 to 30% on top of the salary plus the benefits. And so I wanted to give you a few tips about how to recruit for the right person and what you need to look for. Now, because you're a startup, because usually there's no oversight, you don't have an experienced accounting person to really oversee that more junior person and to train them perhaps. What you need is somebody with the exact skills that you're missing, that you need from that accountant. So if you're completely moving away from a third party, you need somebody who's more experienced, somebody who's closed the books themselves financially, the monthly books, the financial statements, who has that experience for several years. That's what you're really looking for. If you're still keeping your third party and you need somebody to more be a bookkeeper but in-house, then you can find somebody who's more junior. But again, you need to make sure that they have those skills. Now, how do you make sure that they have those skills? The best way is to actually give them a test. And so what I like to do is to sit a person down in front of a computer, in front of your accounting system, which they've always claim on their resume that they know how to use and they're an expert. So you sit them down in front of QuickBooks, for example, and you say, okay, so you said you've used QuickBooks, 3 other companies, and that you're an expert. So can you please enter this vendor invoice? And then they can't. And that's how you know that they've lied on their resume and that this is not the right person to hire. And if they can, fantastic. I've given people 20 minutes to enter one vendor invoice and they couldn't do it. It's a shame, but it happens, which is why it's so important that you test their skills. Another thing that I like to do is to give them a fake financial statement, especially to people who are a little bit more senior, so the senior accountants, the managers who are going to close the books on their own. And kind of mess up the financial statements a little bit, but in a very obvious way. And again, if you need more specific examples, you can give me a call. And then I ask them to find those mistakes. And these are things that, I can tell you they are super easy to spot. I've given them to people who are not in finance, not in accounting, and they can spot those differences and those errors right away. I've had people who have 17 years in accounting who could not spot those issues. And if you can't, then startup is not the right place for you. I'm not sure accounting is right for you. Another thing that I really like to do is also give them an Excel test, because in these days in accounting, you can't survive without knowing Excel, at least in a very basic way. And so I like to give them a pivot table test. So creating a pivot table, organizing data in a certain way, and asking them to maybe sum that data in a certain way. And again, I give plenty of time. 15 minutes, 20 minutes for something that really should take 2 minutes. And if they take any more than 5, then you know that there's something wrong. But if they can't complete it in 20 minutes, then again, you know that is not the right person for you and you need to move on to another candidate. So in terms of also looking, aside from skills, you have to look for soft skills. Now, what do startups need? You need a person who works under stress well. And so you need to right away tell the person in the interview, don't hide from them that this is a stressful job, that they're going to be required to do many different things that may not be in their job description. And so some of the questions that you should ask them are, throw kind of examples at them and say, okay, if your coworker left early and they couldn't, fill in their deadline, and we have a deadline today, and I asked you to stay late and do it for them. Meanwhile, they just left to go have dinner with their friends. What do you do? And so if their answer is not, I'm going to stay and do whatever it takes, and I'm going to do that work, and I really don't mind, they're not the right person for a startup. If you tell them this is going to take a lot of hours, and especially say during month end or certain other periods, and they say, oh, that, and you kind of see in their face that they're like, oh, okay. And then they say, yeah, sure. Wrong person. Okay, wrong person. You need somebody who wants to progress in their career, who wants to learn, and they're going to do whatever it takes. And you're going to see that in their face. You're going to see that. They're going to say, yes, absolutely. I don't mind. I would love to learn anything. I'll take, every opportunity, anything you throw at me, I'm going to do it. Working long hours, not a problem. That's what I'm here for. That's what you need. And also you need somebody who's just simply sharp. Okay. You're not looking for someone who's very, super, especially if you're looking for a more junior person. It's not somebody who knows everything. It's not somebody who's going to necessarily know what, EBITDA stands for, because maybe they forgot that since their, college days. And they're kind of too junior to be dealing with it on a monthly basis. So don't throw what's whack at them. They might not know, and they don't use this in their daily lives. They're not finance people, they're accountants. However, what you should be looking for is that they're plain just smart, intelligent people, and that again they have that zeal to do the work and to learn. So that's my advice. Again, if you have any more questions, please contact me, but those are just a few points that you can use to improve who you hire and who you bring in. Because if you bring in the wrong person, it's going to cost you a ton of money, and in wasted time, in lost productivity, in severance pay, in possible lawsuits, and just time wasted by management, which is again salaries that are wasted. So thank you very much for listening, and until next time, this was Olga Bashkatova at Next Stage Advisory.